Today we're going to begin level 4, and it will start with the first several exercises that will feel very familiar with things we've already done, at least the first 4 of them will, and then we will move on to some new concepts. But as you're beginning these, just remember that we're reinforcing all the things you've done in the past and remembering some of the basic information about numbers, and we do that in the beginning by talking about whole numbers all the way up to 100,000. In the past, we haven't gone up to 100,000, so the new thing is adding another digit to our numbers. And I want to talk to you about it this way, by reminding you what each number means. Of course, and they use dollars. A number is the same thing as a dollar. You could use dollars, you could use numbers. We'll use dollars to match the textbook on page 6. We start with $1, which of course we know to be worth $1. Then we have $10. $10 is the same thing as 10 $1, or of course you could do it with one $10 bill. Now $100 could be 100 $1 bills. Notice that 100 is 10 tens. If you look at the tens place, in a sense, you have 10 tens, and that's 100, or you could have one $100 bill. Look at 1,000. 1,000 is 1,000 $1 bills. It is 100 $10 bills. It is 10 $100 bills, or it is one $1,000 bill. 10 100 or 100 tens, look at the way that number works. And 10,000 is the same thing. You can have 10,000 $1 bills. You can have 1,000 $10 bills. You could call 10,000 the same thing as 100 $100 bills. It could be 10 $1,000 bills, or of course it could be one $10,000 bill. So every time you add a digit, you can continue looking and realizing how many hundreds there are, how many tens there are. It still works to think about it even as you add more and more digits. On page 7, it goes on and just breaks it down just to remind you this. If you've done primary math 1, 2, and 3, or any of those, this will be very familiar. We want to look at the number 23,548, whether it's dollars or just a number, and we want to think about it as 20,000, 3,540, and 8. All of those numbers go together. There's a lovely picture using all the dollar bills, and that's good. Just continue thinking about it as the sum of the individual values of each place. On page 8, it asks us to read and write the following numbers. I want to make a point about the word and. When we use the word and in math, what we mean is a decimal. Now, we haven't talked about decimals yet. We'll talk about that in 4B, but I want you to be careful using the word and. When I read this number, I said 540 and 8, and it occurred to me when I said it that I was going to tell you not to use the word and. You have to kind of distinguish in math when we mean and as in this and that, or when we mean and mathematically. That may sound confusing. Let me tell you what I want you to do. This number, letter A, is 2,753. That's pretty easy. If you said 2,753, that would not be appropriate. Mathematically speaking, we have rules about it. We don't use the word and in a math when you read a number. Okay, and again, when we get to the decimals in 4B, we'll talk about this again, and that's when we'll use the word and. But I want to just read a few of these to you. I'm not going to read all 16 of them, but I thought I'd read 4 of them just to make sure that you're thinking about it the same way that you should be thinking about it. Letter D would be read 3,056. Letter G, 27,165. Letter H, 30,003. Now that's the one you're most tempted to add an and in, possibly. Not 30,003, just 30,003. Try really hard when you're reading numbers out loud not to put an and in the number unless we mean it. Again, Stick around for 4B. We'll talk about when we mean and in a number. So look at number 2. When it says 8,012, you do have to be careful with these because 8,000, we don't have any hundreds, so we have to put a 0 in the hundreds place, and of course 12 is a 10 and 2 ones. Letter B, 49,501. That means I have 49 in the thousands place. In the ones place, I have 501, which of course means there's no tens. So 501. Letter C, 17,004. So 17,000 means in the thousands area we put a 17, but 4 is the only number that belongs after the 17,000, so we'll have 2 zeros holding the places of hundreds and tens. And then letter D, 90,090. So again, a 90 in the thousands area. I want a 90 in the next portion, so a 000 and a 01. This exercise probably won't give you any trouble at all. It'll just kind of help your math brain be a little less fuzzy if you're starting 4A after a summer break. Okay, now you're ready to do exercise 1.